Why are old people, poor people, and sick people being sued for $25,000 each by multi-millionaires, big corporations, and Wall Street across the state of Michigan and elsewhere? Why are they doing this to us? Who are these millionaires and big corporations doing this?
Kathy Bonter's aunt, Barbara Bauer, is one of thousands of tenants attorney Matthew Miller may have been referring to during a hearing last week. Bauer lived in Muskegon's NoMadd mobile home park since 1999.
My aunt was in a very bad accident, lost her leg. She was in hospitals for a few years, and we paid. We left the trailer there and we paid for almost 3 years.
Bauer is now in an assisted living facility, no longer able to live alone. So Bonters, who has power of attorney, tried to sell her home.
We had someone interested for $15,000.
Bonter says NoMadd Park Management foiled that deal and eventually wanted to buy the home themselves for $11,000 to make sure it stays on the property. But Bonters claims management dragged its feet for 3 months.
Finally, we got through to him. And she says, well, now they're going to offer you $3,500. I said, no, we had a deal for $11,000.
Unsatisfied with the lowball offer, Bonters says she was referred to Chris Bogner over at Timberline Mobile Home Sales.
I came in and looked at the house, and I offered her $9,000 for the house, which I think is a fair market price for the home.
Now Park Management is saying they violated the right of first refusal, a chance for the park to counteroffer, which took effect in 2013, even though Bonters says her aunt never signed anything.
I was served with paperwork and a $25,000 lawsuit that prohibited me from pulling the home out until it was heard in circuit court.
Bogner can't move what's now his home.
Can you tell me a little bit about the position you used to hold at NoMadd?
Yes, I was the park manager. I oversee everything as far as maintenance goes, residents, payroll, rent, everything. I did pretty much everything.
Can you speak a little bit to Barbara Bauer and her the case with her home?
The case with her home drug out for a very long time. It's still dragging. Initially they came to me and said they wanted $19,000 for the home, and I told them I would help them sell it, which I did. I did post it online for them to help them, because the owners would rather me find somebody to buy it and then stay in the home so they don't have to buy it. But I tried, and then nobody was buying. Nobody was, interested. I did show it one time, but they wanted to get finance for it, which we didn't do. So they didn't end up buying it. But then it came down to lowering the price. My company offered $11,000 for the home, and they took it. And I sent a check request out and everything, and we were initially going to buy the home. And then 3 weeks later, the residents called me and asked me if the check had gotten to me yet. And I told them no, so I did an email and asked if the check was on its way or what was going on. I just get an email back saying, tell the residents it wasn't in our budget. We can't afford it right now. So I told them okay, and then told the residents, and they weren't too happy, which I understand completely. And then they tried selling it for a little longer, and then found another manager from a different community that was very interested in the home and offered them a reasonable price and bought the home. Well,
was there a second offer from this park?
Yes, after they found out, the owners found out that another manager from a different park was interested in it, then they offered $3,500 from $11,000, and they dropped it to $35,000. I couldn't believe it myself. I mean, that's kind of a slap in the face, if you ask me. But it was quite embarrassing calling them back, giving them that offer when even myself would be, offended. Yeah. So, but they pretty much laughed, and then they proceeded with the other park manager from a different community who bought the home.
And they thought that they had the right to first refusal in that case in order to help come back with a different amount of money?
Yes, it was at that time where they thought that they could bring out the first right to refusal to then buy the home. But to throw it out there you know, at the very end, after you've offered them 11 first and then, you know, lowballed them for 35, then to throw out the first right of refusal to use it, I think is wrong. You know, you either have it set in, you know, you shouldn't play games, and especially they drug it out for months. I mean, I got emails for almost a year now about this home.
And Barbara never signed anything about the right to first refusal?
No, nope, we just, we did the 30 days prior to when it came in effect and sent it out to each resident.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that that's kind of, it's confusing for the resident and they weren't sure that that was something that they were required to do?
Yeah, I think it is. It can be quite confusing to a lot of people, and a lot of the residents are seniors. So I'm pretty sure it confused a lot of people to understand what that meant. A lot of people took it the wrong way.
After the park took back their $11,000 offer, did they drag their feet at all before coming back with the $3,500?
Actually, yes. It was about a good 2.5 months, I believe the email span was. The $3,500 they came back with because, you know, so many months had went on. I believe that NoMadd did give them November for free. No, November rent we did credit, but after that there was about 2 months, I think 2 or 3 months of rent, and then that's when they came in with a $3,500 offer, saying, well, with the amount that they owe in rent, tell them, you know, we'll include that and then give them $3,500, and you know that should, you know, be enough, and they don't have to come in and pay it. We'll just take it off of what we would give them.
How much did they owe in rent?
I believe, let's see, it was a little over $1,000. That's included the water bill too.
So the full total would have been how much?
Would have been a little over $4,500.
And do you think they dragged their feet on purpose before coming back with that second offer in order to get more money from the resident?
Absolutely. It makes the residents feel weak and feel like they're going to be in trouble if they don't pay rent, and they get away with it. I've seen it a million times.
Did they stay current with their rent while they were waiting, or did they wait to pay it?
Well, they waited to pay it, but it took so long for me to get a reply back from the owners with, you know, with the deal. It took them almost 2 months just to reply back to me. So of course 2 months of rent did, you know, occur. I mean, but they didn't pay it because they're waiting on a response, you know. And I told them they wouldn't have to worry about the rent right now because we're in the middle of negotiating. So then later on, you know, shortly after that, once the owners found out that they were gonna possibly move the homes when we moved out, they emailed me and said, well, they do owe, you know, do they owe rent? Let's, you know, give them eviction papers or 7 days notice to pay their rent. But they're the ones dragging it out so long. It's not the residents' fault. They're just waiting for their check. You know, they were waiting for their $11,000 check that I told them that was approved for us to buy it. And then, you know, a couple months went by, and of course they owe rent, and then they want to offer them the $3,500 like it's a big joke, you know, and then give them an eviction notice for it. So it's, at one point I had to park my vehicle in front of a mobile home that was getting ready to be moved. They were hooking it up to move it out of the park, and I had to park my personal vehicle in front of it to hold them. They said to do whatever I had to do to stop it, to stop them from being moved. So, and I did that on more than one occasion. They get pretty desperate sometimes, and they want to make sure that those mobile homes do not get removed from the park. They can be quite nasty when it comes to that, if it's threatened to be moved out of the park. But and it's part of my job. I do what I'm told to do.
These multi-millionaire Wall Street guys who own the parks are telling us we have to sell them our home or they will sue us. It's obvious what they are doing. What if we need to sell our home right now to pay for a nursing home, move to a different state for work, or pay off our bank loan for our mobile home? Listen to that three-piece suit lawyer calling us unsophisticated. Who does he think he is? Just because we are less well off than his multi-millionaire clients. You can help us put a stop to this. We can't do it alone. We need your help. Contact us today and we will show you how we can stand together and put an end to this unfair treatment of the people who can least afford to fight for what belongs to us. Please help us.